Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolute chiller of a mystery pulled straight from Reddit. We're going to break down the evidence of what might actually be a real-life paranormal encounter. So, if you're alone right now, well, you might want to go ahead and keep the lights on, because we're taking a very structured, analytical look at a seriously unsettling sequence of events. Okay, let's jump right in.
Picture this. You're in a completely silent room. Your TV is powered off, the screen is pitch black. And suddenly, with literally zero warning, a child's booming, incredibly cheerful voice just erupts from that dead screen. Listen up. On the count of 3, we're gonna jump. 3, 2, 1, jump, jump, jump. I mean, it sounds exactly like a classic campfire ghost story, right? But this actually happened to a young couple. Let's lay out the facts and see if we can figure out exactly what they experienced.
All right, Phase 1, Incident Report, the Hallway of Dread.
To really understand this anomaly, we have to establish the baseline scene for our investigation. So, about a year ago, this young married couple was living in what seemed like a perfectly ordinary small apartment. On the surface, absolutely nothing was wrong with the place. You walk in, you're greeted by an open kitchen and a living room. But then there was this long, dark hallway stretching all the way back toward the bedroom. And the husband, he described this inexplicable, constant feeling of dread whenever he looked down that hallway. He said it wasn't a visible shadow or a weird noise, but just this heavy, overwhelming feeling that something was quietly watching them from the bedroom. His wife actually never felt anything strange at all and would just kind of laugh it off. That split in perception is super fascinating to me, but as we'll see, that laughter definitely wouldn't last long. Moving on to Incident 1, the black screen speaks. Let's fast forward to a specific night. The couple's packing for an early morning road trip. It's around midnight, the apartment is dead quiet, and the entire focus of our investigation shifts to the Roku TV sitting right there in their bedroom. Let's walk through this precise timeline, because the exact sequence is what makes this so absolutely baffling. The wife had been watching TV, but left it sitting on the Roku home screen, and asked her husband to turn it off so they could focus on packing. Step 1, he grabs the remote and hits power. Step 2, he physically watches the screen go completely black. Step 3, he tosses the remote down on the bed. And then, Step 4, exactly 1 minute later, that child's voice absolutely explodes from the television. But guys, the audio was really only half the terror here.
See, the screen never actually turned on. It stayed completely pitch black. But literal glowing subtitles appeared on that dead screen, perfectly matching every single word that child's voice was saying. I mean, just imagine the sheer dread of seeing that. A completely unpowered TV projecting glowing text into a dark bedroom. And while they're just standing there frozen in terror, the bedroom lights slowly dim down, almost like someone had intentionally lowered a dimmer switch, before popping right back to normal just a few seconds later.
Which brings us to Incident 2, the 3 a.m. knocking.
After that crazy night, the whole atmosphere in the apartment shifted. The husband reported the bedroom was actually feeling physically colder, and that hallway somehow felt even longer. The unease wasn't just a passing feeling anymore, it was a permanent fixture. And this escalating dread leads us straight to another night where both of them woke up at the exact same moment just after 3 a.m. Something was knocking on the wall directly behind that same television. And it wasn't just some random scuffling in the walls, it was a deliberate, mathematical progression. Knock, knock, knock. 3 slow taps, then just silence. Then it started again, 4 taps, a deliberate pause. Then 5 taps, over and over for several minutes. Let me tell you, that does not sound like settling pipes or a noisy neighbor. It sounded like someone deliberately trying to get their attention.
They are terrified, not daring to speak above a whisper. Finally, the husband grabs his phone, flicks on the flashlight, and points it directly at the wall where the sound is coming from. And the knocking stops instantly. It didn't slowly fade away the way old pipes might. It stopped the exact fraction of a second the light hit the wall, literally as if whatever was back there suddenly realized it was being watched.
Let's transition into Phase 2, Evidence Review, investigating the anomalies. Okay, so let's shift gears from the creepy campfire vibes and put on our investigator hats to look at this analytically. The most logical explanation for Incident 1? A faulty Roku glitch, or maybe an app just running in the background with the screen off. Actually, the couple was desperately hoping for this. Trying to prove it was just a glitch, they nervously laughed it off, and the husband picked up the remote to press the power button again. But here is the unexplained reality. The TV instantly turned on, booting right back up to the Roku home screen. That right there is the ultimate glitch in the logical theory. By booting up to the home screen, the TV definitively proved it had been genuinely powered off the entire time that voice and those subtitles were playing.
And they didn't just stop there. They immediately did a full investigative check of their digital footprint. They searched every single streaming app, they checked all the recently watched videos, they scoured their entire YouTube history. Absolutely nothing. They hadn't watched any children's shows, and there were 0 videos containing that specific dialogue or voice. There was just no digital explanation whatsoever for the audio or for those glowing subtitles.
So it's time for the verdict: logical explanations versus the unknown. We really have to weigh the scientific, technical theories against the horrifying reality this couple actually lived through. Take the TV and the light stimming. The technical theory points squarely to faulty electrical wiring or some strange electronic glitch in the building, sure. But the paranormal detail? Glowing subtitles perfectly syncing with audio on a completely black, unpowered screen, that is incredibly difficult to just write off as a simple power surge. And then consider the 3 a.m. wall noises. Yes, settling pipes and noisy neighbors are super common apartment woes, but the detail here shatters that logic. A deliberate, interactive, mathematical rhythm of 3, then 4, then 5 taps.
And that leads us to the most chilling question of the whole case. Why did the knocking stop the exact moment the flashlight touched the wall? That specific reaction utterly defies your typical everyday explanations. I mean, settling buildings literally don't care if you shine a light on them, right? Plumbing doesn't suddenly stop reacting just because you're looking at it. That sudden silence implies awareness. It implies that whatever was making the noise was reacting to the couple in real time.
Ultimately, nothing quite like this ever happened to them again, but the emotional tension of those final nights and that suffocating feeling of being watched from down that long hallway, it simply became way too much. The mounting dread forced them to pack up and move out of the apartment soon after. And sometimes the complete lack of a logical explanation is the most terrifying thing of all. Just knowing that something totally inexplicable happened in your own safe space and knowing you will never, ever have the answers.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought as we wrap up this explainer. Look at the evidence we covered. Consider the impossible electronic glitches and those intelligent reacting noises in the dark. What about you? Would you have stayed another night in that apartment to search for a logical answer? Or would you have packed your bags and bolted immediately? Just really think about what you'd do if your dead television suddenly told you to jump. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive today, and hey, maybe keep your flashlight handy tonight.